Revolutionary greetings, comrades. We are following closely the events taking place in South Africa, where the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, under the leadership of Julius Malema, declared a national shutdown. They have been joined by other political parties, trade unions, and other civic society organizations. While the focus is on the national shutdown by the EFF and what it has achieved or its objective. But it is important for some of us who come from outside South Africa to at least look into the governing party, the African National Congress, how it has reacted to the shutdown. Yes, the ANC-led government deployed the army and the police in the streets of South Africa. We saw a number of videos trending on social media where the military was moving its vehicles getting into communities. As we draw closer to the end of the day, the 20th of March 2023, what I have not picked up during the course of the day is how the military treated the protesters. And I do not want to misinform anyone following this YouTube channel and say the military did nothing. No. I'm saying the news channels that I've been following, and also comments from a number of social media platforms. I'm yet to come across reports where the military have opened fire to protesters or to marchers, while other commentators were arguing that deploying the military sends a wrong signal to the international community. I don't know which international community. When one says international community, I read West in it. But other commentators have been saying it sends a wrong signal to the international community. And that South Africa or the governing party, the African National Congress and the Alliance, do not accept different views from society. Maybe we are going to pick up news which will inform us that indeed the military shot dead protesters in some area, which up to now, as I recorded this video, I've not heard of. And I want to compare with a number of African countries on what happens when the military is deployed in the streets when there are protesters. And if this national shutdown was in another African country where the military would have been deployed, by now we would be counting dead bodies of protesters. So it's important that while there are genuine issues, which I wouldn't want to get into, that people are raising, those who have decided to take to the streets are raising, and I wouldn't want to get into those issues. But the ANC, the African National Congress, and its alliance partners has responded or conducted itself as a caring organization, that it accepts engagement, that it allows those who would differ with it to raise these issues in public. It will not go an extra mile to silence those that are opposed to it. In some African countries, which I wouldn't want to mention by name, By this time, some leaders of the national shutdown would have been visited by the military intelligence in the middle of the night. Some by now would be in hospital, some in prison. We have seen it in a number of African countries. Because the African National Congress, with all its imperfections, it had said, wait a minute, we will engage publicly. I've been reading the statements by the African National Congress, by the South African Communist Party. I've seen some leaders writing opinion pieces. One might agree, one might disagree with issues that they raised, particularly the article that Comrade Buti Manamela wrote. Others disagree with the issues that he wrote. Others agree with him. That is what we call engagement. Because you don't expect everyone to agree with what you are raising, just as much as I would not expect everyone to agree with what I'm saying in this video. Others are totally opposed to what I'm saying. That's part of engagement. In the last protest, over 300 people died. The security forces in South Africa came under fire. Over 300 people died. There was massive looting. And the ANC came under fire for failing to protect citizens and property during what was called the July unrest. This time, when it deployed the military and the police, it came under fire. To say, no, but why do you deploy the military? And as I'm saying, and of course I admit that I've missed the news, and I might get the news later on, where we appointed to news where the military abused the citizens. Yes, we saw some videos circulating, particularly, I think it was in Braamfontein Wits University in Johannesburg, where on the eve of the protest, the people were arrested, and in the morning were told that they were released. Later on in the day, I heard that about 87 protesters were arrested. As I'm saying, we have not recorded or we have not heard of the military firing live ammunition to protesters. In some other African countries, those who gathered at Church Square in Pretoria, Tswana, would have received tear gas, water cannons from the police. People are going to be shambled. So this is why I'm saying, while we critique what made people to take to the streets, which I'm saying, there are genuine issues that people are raising, whether issues around load shedding and so forth. They are genuine issues. But it's also important that we look at the conduct or the reaction of the governing party. If we were to compare with other governing parties or ruling parties across the continent, how they were going to react to such. And I see my countrymen, some of them are excited by this protest. It's good. They are actually excited, it's dominating social media. But we all know that in Zimbabwe, you cannot just wake up or you cannot call a press conference, announce a national shutdown when you are in the opposition, and the police and the army will simply accompany you even if you do not have permission to doi. That will not happen. It has never happened before. And this tells you a lot. We still talk about the events of the 31st, was it 1st of August 2018, after soon after the 2018 elections, where 6 people died in Harare. Videos are circulating where the military were firing to protesters. The Halema Munklande Commission had to deal with this issue. And the issue which was being discussed was the position of the soldier who was firing, whether was firing above or was firing at the marchers. And we saw in Harare lately of the Zimbabwe Republic Police, we saw the military in action. And I'm saying we did not see the military. Yes, we saw the military moving in. I've seen videos where people would be posting military moving in. But I'm yet to see a video. I'm not saying it is not there, no. But I'm yet to see a video where a soldier in South Africa is carrying an AK-47 firing to the crowds, as we saw in Harare in 2018. So this is why I'm saying we might have different views about the African National Congress. We might say it is the author of all these problems that people have decided to march against. But we must also reflect and say, how did the ANC-led government react to this? Because from the 21st of March going forward, people will be talking, different commentators will occupy radio, television stations, social media. They will be talking about what we call postmortem, or the aftermath of the national shutdown, to say, did it achieve its intended objective? In fact, what was the objective? Was it achieved? Wara people will be debating. And I'm saying, I'm hoping that in that analysis, if indeed, when we get to the 21st of March and beyond, and there are no reports of the military having fired live ammunition to protesters, we should at least give credit to the South African government for conducting itself well. As I said, many will disagree with me, but for me, that's very important. To say, how does a former liberation movement conduct itself when citizens are mobilized against it? Does it react like what the apartheid government did or colonial governments did, or some former liberation movements are doing across the continent? Or it takes a note to say, okay, we note these things that have been raised, and it begins to self-correct. Remember that the African National Congress is the oldest liberation movement in the continent. And most of us, I think we did a video, most of us, we draw inspirations from it. Not only us, those who came before us Dr. Joshua Mqabukonkomo was influenced by the ANC and many leaders of the liberation movement. It is the oldest liberation movement in Africa. And for me, in particular, it's a lesson that I draw from the ANC. That even if some sections of society do not agree with you, and they want to demonstrate, they want to march, allow them. Allow them to do so. What you then do yourself is to self-correct and get back to communities. And I think this is what the African National Congress is doing. Please share your own comments in the comment section. Like I said, I don't expect everyone to agree with what I'm raising. I'm not really talking about what pushed the people to Toy. We'll talk about it some other time. For me, what is key is how a former liberation movement reacts when opposition parties declare a national shutdown. How does a national liberation movement react? And for me, based on what I have seen and the reports that I have seen so far, I think the ANC conducted itself maturely, and we must indeed salute it. Please share your views in the comment section, like the video, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, red salute to the ANC.